Captain Smith takes on Philidor in the 1790 Chessmaster 11, famous games annotated. Captain Smith opens the game with the king's pawn, a classic start. Philidor responds symmetrically, occupying the center. Smith develops the bishop to a strong attacking square, targeting f7. Philidor develops his knight, defending e5 and preparing to castle. Smith supports the e4 pawn and opens a diagonal for his queen's bishop. Philidor prepares to expand on the queenside or support a d5 push. Smith pins Philidor's knight, creating tactical possibilities. Philidor immediately challenges the pinned bishop. Smith decides to capture the knight, giving up his bishop for a knight and doubling Philidor's f-pawns. Philidor recaptures with the queen, bringing it into a central attacking position. Smith develops his knight, controlling central squares. Philidor expands on the queenside, gaining space and driving Smith's bishop. Smith retreats his bishop to a safe square on the long diagonal. Philidor continues his queenside pawn storm, threatening to gain more space. Smith makes a genuine sacrifice with this pawn move, giving up material to stem the queenside expansion. Philidor develops his bishop to an active diagonal, targeting Smith's kingside. Smith plays a genuine sacrifice, moving his knight to an attacked square. Philidor solidifies his center and opens lines for his light-squared bishop. Smith develops his queen, connecting the rooks and preparing to castle. Philidor brings his bishop into play, defending and eyeing Smith's position. Smith captures Philidor's bishop, simplifying the position. Philidor recaptures, opening the f-file for his rook and reinforcing the center. Smith castles kingside, bringing his king to safety and connecting his rooks. Philidor initiates a kingside attack, aiming to open lines against Smith's castled king, putting Smith under immediate siege. Smith tries to create some breathing room for his king. Philidor maneuvers his knight, preparing to bring it to the kingside. Smith repositions his knight, reinforcing the kingside defense. Philidor continues his kingside pawn storm, gaining more space. Smith attempts to create a pawn structure to defend his king. Philidor centralizes his king, connecting the rooks and preparing for endgame possibilities, as his command of space allows for an attack at will. Smith tries to find a safer square for his king, moving it deeper into the pawn shield. Philidor opens the center, challenging Smith's control. Smith makes a genuine sacrifice with this pawn, opening the f-file for Philidor's rook. Philidor brings his knight to a more active square, preparing to join the kingside attack. Smith repositions his knight towards the center. Philidor's knight arrives on the kingside, adding pressure. Smith shores up his queenside pawn structure. Philidor brings his rook to the g-file, eyeing Smith's king. Smith makes a genuine sacrifice, opening the d-file in the center. Philidor develops his bishop to an active diagonal, controlling the long diagonal. Smith captures the pawn, opening lines in the center. Philidor recaptures with the queen, centralizing it and eyeing Smith's kingside. Smith makes a genuine sacrifice, placing his knight in an attacked position in the center. Philidor repositions his king to a safer square. Smith brings his rook to the e-file, trying to activate it. Philidor continues his relentless kingside advance, creating weaknesses. Smith brings his queen back to a defensive position. Philidor repositions his bishop, controlling key diagonals. Smith retreats his knight, a passive defensive move in a critical position. Philidor captures on g3, opening the h-file for his rook. Smith makes a genuine sacrifice, recapturing the pawn but giving up his queen to a forced trade. Philidor captures Smith's queen, exchanging queens and giving a check. Smith recaptures with the knight, but is now down significant material. Philidor brings his knight to f4 with a check, forcing Smith's king to move. Smith moves his king to the corner, trying to escape the checks. Philidor captures the pawn on h3, unleashing a powerful rook along the h-file. Smith tries to bring his rook into defense, but it's too late. Philidor's rook captures the knight on h2 with a devastating check. Smith's king is forced to capture the rook. Philidor brings his other rook to the h-file, delivering another check and preparing for the final attack. Smith makes a desperate genuine sacrifice of his knight to block the check. Philidor recaptures the knight with his rook, giving a crushing check. Smith's king is driven to g3, desperately trying to find safety. Philidor delivers another check with his knight, further cornering Smith's king. Smith's king is forced to g4, completely exposed. Philidor delivers the final blow with a beautiful checkmate, bringing the game to an end. Philidor skillfully outmaneuvered Captain Smith with a relentless kingside attack, concluding with a checkmate on move 66.